How you doing? This is Officer Lewis, Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, here celebrating movers and shakers, some trailblazers for Black History Month. All month long, we've been celebrating a lot of great people, which brings us full circle right back here to home base to speak with these two men. Mr. Gary L. McFadden, 45 I call him, 45th Sheriff of this Mecklenburg County, and Mr. Shaun Lucky Corbett.
Just Lucky.
Just Lucky Corbett, owner of the Lucky Spot Barbershop.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now before I get into how you two guys know each other and what you're doing, I wanted to speak to you just in brief about you being the first African-American Mecklenburg County Sheriff. Tell me about that. How does that feel?
Well, it feels great. I take very much pride in it. A lot of people don't know why I did it. I was asked to be sheriff, but a lot of people may have not realized this, that in 1619 is when the first slaves came to America.
Okay.
And ironically, 400 years later, I become Mecklenburg County's first Black sheriff. So I don't take that lightly. It's a lot of weight on my shoulders. I love every second of it. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Do I love the criticism that I get? Absolutely. It's fueling my fire. I had a great conversation with some people this past weekend who would have never talked to me. But one gentleman came to me and said, "You're powerful. You have a lot of history. And what you have done is shake us up and shake America up, because you're not going to be the same type of sheriff that we've had before." And so I took that, and that's the legacy of my family. Be the movers and shakers. We own our school bus, so we didn't walk to school. So while they were talking about getting a school bus with Brown versus the Board of Education, or Clarendon versus the Briggs family, which started Brown versus the Board of Education, my family owned a bus. And so I have to take that legacy and continue.
That's what's up. Now, 40 years of service. A lot of people don't know. You ain't just jump on this, you would say, this bus. You've been here for 40 years.
Every challenge I have been great. 40 years, I'm really worried of how long I'm going to stay. Because now, being here 4 years, going on my 5th year at the Sheriff's Office, I know I have what it takes. I speak nationally. Just been selected to several national boards as of last week. So it may be another 40 years, who knows? If they can bring me a hover around, they can get me around, I'm gonna be here, so I'm good.
Now, I go many places with the community engagement. A lot of people talk about, I am homicide, I am homicide. Now, not only was it a show, good show, but it was a first of its kind, and tell us how, because you're a lot of firsts.
Well, I'm the first African-American law enforcement officer to ever have his own national, now international TV show. But I want to say this, Rod Demery and Chris Anderson are also the first. So we like to say we are the first. And I always told them, maybe I opened the door, but they came right in behind me. But I am the first African-American law enforcement officer to have his own national and international TV show. So it was ID, Discovery. They didn't know what they had at first until I told them. And then when they found it out, found everything out, we did great things together. And we still doing great things. And they still call me, and they still put my name out there.
That's what's up. Now, you two guys, the correlation. This is how you paved the way. Because you started something, but you made room and you made way for this young man right here to do what he does. Lucky Spot Barbershop. Now, Cops and Barbers. Tell us about that. I want you to tell me about it.
The funny thing about Cops and Barbers is it actually started just by idea that I had at home with my wife. And my wife is the type that challenges. She's not okay, we're gonna sit and talk about it, what are you gonna do about it? So I had an idea, and
that's a good wife.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't have made it this far without her, so absolutely. But she's a challenger, and so I was actually sitting on a board at that time of a local barber association here in Charlotte, and we were looking for our first event, right? And I had an idea of using the barbershop and the barbers in the community, because the barbershop has been the cornerstone and the safe place of the African American community since beginning of time.
Right.
And so using that leverage that we have to bring the community and engage with law enforcement in a safe space, so they can voice their grievances, let law enforcement know certain things that they feel community-based wise, and learn things from law enforcement. And so they thought it was a great idea, and it made it to Chief Monroe. And Chief Monroe was like, okay, I need you to meet a guy. This guy was what I like to call 45.
45.
He showed up, suited and booted, with a notepad and said, Monroe told me to come talk to you. What do you need? And I was like, I need this, and this. You start writing it down. And before you know it, we had Cops and Barbers. Our first event was Super Bowl Sunday. We didn't know it was Super Bowl Sunday when we set the date. But we were nervous, we were frantic. Should we change the date? Should we not? Then we was just like, we're not gonna change it. And so we had like 200 something people there on Super Bowl Sunday. So we knew that we had something, and we went to each and every rec center in Charlotte. And in that process, it got national attention. We were able to speak at the Super Bowl, awards and things like that. But that's what him nor I was never involved. Like we didn't show up for that. That was not the purpose that we came together. And so in that process, we always made sure that we did the work. Because if I go speak in Cincinnati and he goes speak in Memphis, they got the same problems. So we would always come back together and be like, well, they saying this over here and they saying this over here. And we saying this in Charlotte.
Right.
All three of these places saying the same thing. These must be the issues. So how do we address these issues within our capacity, right? Or with our best ability? And so we started the tutoring program. We started feeding the community. We started sending young men and young ladies to school, getting them trades. And so that was our marching. That was our protesting. That was our, putting our money where our mouth is. Our first student in the Cops and Barbers Scholarship, we paid out of our own pocket, along with DTLR, a local clothing store here in Charlotte. Like, we paid for him to go to school out of our pocket. Tools, books, everything. Uniforms, everything. And now, to date, we've probably sent close to 15 students through school that are actively working in barbershops between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And so, in that process, it's okay to not show up or not be seen all the time, right?
Right.
Because sometimes you get caught up in being seen, you forget the mission. So when people always like, well, where's Shaun at? Where's Shaun at? Okay, look at the amount of shops. Look at how many people we put through school. Look at the stuff that McFadden doing. We like to think of Cops and Barbers as a satellite. Yeah. We'll put it up in the stratosphere, and when we need it, we pull it down and we go to work.
That's what's up. Now, you don't want to be recognized, but you were.
Yeah.
By big guy. One of his top 10 initiatives.
Yeah.
President Obama.
Still have it on my desk.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, we were doing security detail for the president, and I left this paperwork on the back seat. So one of the staff members picks it up, and he was looking at it on our way to our next event. And he called me later that day and said, I'm taking the president this. This is a missing piece of the puzzle of the 21st Century Police Initiative. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so we got a call from the White House to come to the White House. And me and Shaun go to the White House, and we were lost. We stood out. I think we arrived so early, Secret Service wasn't even there. And we just standing outside, and I have this picture of us sitting at the table, and nobody's talking to us. But the President Obama said, that's it. That's the key. That's it. That's the satellite that you need. And nobody really came to us, and we gave it to a few people. And then we just said, we're going to do what we want to do. And then after that, it's a little organization called Walmart came up and said, what can you do? And they challenged Shaun, challenged me, and then Shaun challenged me every day. People may think that I'm mentoring Shaun. No. Shaun mentors me. He makes me do stuff that I would probably never do. And believe it or not, the tutoring program didn't take but one meeting. And that meeting was on the sidewalk on South Boulevard after we did a radio interview. And Shaun says he needs iPads. And I knew CMPD had iPads, and I brought them back, and we went through 6 months of trying to get those iPads. But that's how the tutoring program started. So then we took off from there. And then Walmart says, Shaun, what can you do?
Basically, Walmart came along. We had already been doing the community service. Like he says, I love to challenge him. Like I love to challenge any law enforcement that I come in contact with, because are you really about the community? Like, you know, we don't need the cameras all the time. You know, they're good for holidays and stuff like that, but you know, September 25th, are we still doing this, right? And so I would always challenge him. And I need this, we need to do this, we need to do this. Because, you know, I mean, in our community, we're used to people showing up and then leaving after they get a certain office or they get what they need. So at first it was just like, let me strike while the iron's hot. Why I got his attention, let me get this done, let me get this done, let me get this done. But he never left. So we were able to make big change. So Walmart comes along right after our, I can't remember what year it was, but we were doing our back to school weekend. It started from a back to school day. It got so big till it was a weekend. And so Walmart's like, we love what you guys are doing. They were trying to get in contact with him. He wouldn't talk to them. And so we love what you guys are doing. So I'm like, all right, cool. If you love what we're doing, we need to get, y'all need to get involved in the community. And if y'all serious about it, then these are the things that we do. First and foremost, let's start getting businesses inside of Walmart that represent the communities that they service. We don't have any businesses inside of Walmart that we identify with. That was a 2-year task, you know, and well, what do we need to do to talk to the sheriff? Okay, get involved in the community. Come around, ride around with me for 2 weeks. Let's go to Turning Point. Let's go speak at this school. Let's go to Commonwealth, you know, charter school. Let's go to these places where people that look like you and I are there, and they're just really waiting on their turn to go to court. Let's change this narrative. And so they stuck with it. And so now you can meet with the sheriff. And so he's like, where do you want to meet? I said, we can meet anywhere. I don't care. He said, man, let's meet at the barbershop. His show, he's like, meet at the barbershop. So where we would do the tutoring, we had a bookshelf in a kid's corner where kids read books. He had the executives of Walmart sitting on little stools.
Okay.
Having a meeting. And from there, they called me. They said, we love what you're doing. We're going to put you on a pilot program in Walmart. One shop, Charlotte, North Carolina, Wilkerson Boulevard. Pilot program, basically 18 months, see what you're going to do. Within 6 months, they call me and say, you're on master lease. What is master lease? That means that you can go anywhere in the company. Anywhere in the globe that a Walmart is, you can open up a barbershop. And so to date, we opened our first location August 4th, 2019. To date, now you got to add COVID into there. So to date, we have 9 locations.
9 lucky spots.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That
Between
is awesome.
North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
We could talk all day. Hold on, you got something to say. Go ahead.
No, he just got Alabama and Mississippi on his radar. We're supposed to go down there and just plow the road for him. And
we do.
that's what we do.
And also remember, every state that we go to, we plug in with the local sheriff and the law enforcement for Cops and Barbers.
That's awesome.
So the sad part about it, people now are asking me to get involved with what they believe are creating new ideas with the simulator of shooting and all this, and going to school and having assemblies. And when the guy came and a sheriff in Florida said it's a brilliant idea, and I said it is. We've been doing it for 6 years. And he was blown away. And so then I took one of the videos that we did at the schools and showed him this is what we were doing in 2015, 16, and 17. So what y'all talking about doing, we've already done.
That's
that.
the trailblazer.
We moved on.
Yeah.
But that is called forward thinking. That's all it is.
I want to thank you guys.
Thank you.
We can go on all day, but I know we're pressed for time. I wanted to tell you guys that you are Black history. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, or you, Shaun. You are Black history. You're not just celebrating Black history. We're celebrating you guys.
Well, thank you.
We want to thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you very much.
All right.